Welcome back to the big room where we love watching failed Disney films from the 2000s.
At least twice. What? 3 times?
3 times.
3 times.
Animated twice.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Prince of Persia has a lot of animation, though.
That movie blows. So Treasure Planet came out on November 27th, 2002. I was but 7 years old.
But a lad.
I wanted to watch this so bad, and I just never did.
Were you allowed to?
Yeah,
okay.
but it was just coming soon to own on Disney Video and DVD, and it just never came soon to my house. Just never happened.
Sorry.
Never watched it in theaters. I don't know.
No.
Whatever.
It happens.
Directed by John Musker and Ron Clements.
Goats.
Screenplay by those two fellas and Rob Edwards. It is, of course, based on Robert Louis Stevenson's classic literature, Treasure Island. The budget for this was 140 million big ones. And it made 109.
Rip.
So, like, not even close. Like, it made negative probably 100 million. Quite poor show.
Even with merchandising?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yikes.
I mean, it didn't make any money.
Well, it just made a couple more dollars because of us.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They got a couple pennies in their coffer for the streaming of the 4 of us did. 3 of us did.
Something.
Now, this is the 3rd Treasure Island adaptation set in space. 3rd one.
What?
In 1982, Bulgaria had an animated film called Treasure Planet. So not even the title's original.
Well, who's watching a Bulgarian movie? Nobody.
And in
Balkanese people.
Italy, in 1987, this was live action. And it was called Treasure Island in Outer Space, which is about as on the nose. That was also the working title for this movie.
Treasure Island,
No.
but space.
Yeah, they saw Treasure Island.
It's like a very Muppet format movie title.
Which, yeah, that's quite. They spent 5 minutes thinking of that. Speaking of thirds, this is the 3rd Treasure Island adaptation of Disney's. So they had a 1950s movie called Treasure Island,
Wow.
and that one's like the actual novel, right? Like boats and it's 18th century and whatnot. And then they had 1996's Muppet Treasure Island, and then of course Treasure Planet.
Muppets.
Yeah, Muppets Treasure
I'd be
Island.
into that.
Yeah, similarly to Prince of Persia, Disney had a sequel, direct-to-video releases, and a possible TV series lined up to make this a franchise. And then it friggin'
Mega
bombed.
franchise.
Didn't
Yeah, dude. So that's not 2 in a row because we broke it up with Breakfast at Tiffany's, but
Yeah.
2 of our last 3 have been Disney really aiming for the stars and hitting bankruptcy. Like, it's just completely whiffed.
Yeah.
Unlike Prince of Persia, though, this movie reviews quite well. If you look up reviews, people are pleased. It's a good adventure film. I think I saw one give it like an A-, B.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed to be like a solid B+ film, which is good. Prince of
I feel
Persia.
like people weren't ready for it.
I don't know what it is,
Ahead
Ahead of its
time.
time.
but
yeah.
we'll talk
Yeah.
about that in a minute. So, well, I have a bunch of questions for us, but
Ooh, questions.
so this mug took
Question corner.
this thing took like 4.5 years to develop, but it was in development hell for like almost 20.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. You brought that up last night.
Yes, I did.
So these two they first pitched this in 1985.
Dang.
So 17 years before it released. They first pitched it. So they pitched it in 85 and Disney was not interested. Then in 1989, these guys did Little Mermaid and it finished. And they pitched it again and Disney said, not interested. And then in 1992, Aladdin came out and they pitched it
Same.
again.
Not by them, though.
I don't think so.
No, it was.
Oh, it was by them.
Yes.
Okay.
Dang.
They pitched it again after Aladdin, and Disney said, we're not interested. And then they got really pissed off, and they crawled to the boss man. They went to Roy E. Disney, who's Walt Disney's son.
Roy.
And he wasn't in charge of Disney, but he was in charge of, I believe, one of the animation areas. But his last name says Disney on it, so he had some pull. So they went to Roy E. Disney, and they said,
Sounds so made
we're
up.
so pissed off. That they
We
won't-
did Little Mermaid.
and Aladdin, And another thing,
Hercules.
Hercules. that
And
was
The
it.
Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah, so they've like,
Dang.
3 hitters and then The Great Mouse Detective.
That one was technically first.
I never
actually.
bloody heard of that in my
I'd
life.
say dang, like, oh, those are great movies. I've seen them all 1,000 times. I haven't seen any of those.
Those are all like peak Disney.
Yeah, like early
I've
90s.
seen the Will Smith
That was
Aladdin.
the
That's
Disney. Oh my god.
That Aladdin
Nick.
blows.
No.
In that Aladdin, they did this.
I enjoyed it.
They did this really cool thing where they hired a lead actor who couldn't sing, right?
Yeah. Not as bad as Emma Watson as Belle. That is the worst. That is the worst one.
We're gonna really look back on this era of live action remakes and go, "What the hell were they thinking?" In fact, they're doing that now because Snow White just absolutely shit the bed. That movie, nobody saw that.
I didn't even know there was one.
You had to have known.
How did you
Yeah, it was
miss
so
that?
enshrouded in scandal. How'd you? Well, you would miss that, I guess. It's very on brand for you.
But you love drama.
In 2 years, you'll see all the news about it.
I love drama for like local restaurants.
Not drama.
I like stirring up the pot
Not big
locally.
scale.
You're a 62-year-old woman on Facebook. This man's
I
trolling
was
Yelp
sent-
for the good stuff.
I've been sent as a spy from one restaurant to another.
Oh.
To another.
What is your life? That's
drama.
unbelievably.
Tell me what's on their
dull.
menu. Tell me how it is.
Oh my god! Wow.
You got to capitalize on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're like the world's worst spy, lowest stakes spy ever.
He does it for free. He in fact pays them.
I'll buy your food and then I'll go over there and buy their food to spy on you. And what do you get out of this? The hot restaurant
Enjoyment.
dude.
Oh god.
Nick
2
does it
meals.
for the love of the game, dude. What was I talking about?
He's a purist.
Okay,
The
They
creative
crawled to
team.
Disney.
they go to Disney, and they're like, "Please, can we make a movie?" And he was like, "Yes." So they restructured their contracts, and then they restructured their contracts in 1995 to allow them to make Treasure Planet after Hercules. Right. And then they finally got to make Treasure
Yep.
Planet. Yay!
then it bombed.
Yay. And then it bombed.
And then it bombed because they.
So it wasn't some like technical issue. They weren't like, we got to get computer animation to get up to this level so we can animate this port city.
No,
like,
so
we need 20 years.
They did
Like,
say that they were kind of on a level thankful for the delays because it allowed computer technology to catch up to what they wanted to do. They were like, we want to pan a 3D
Silver
camera
lining.
like Spielberg. So, and this was crucially the year after Atlantis, which is the last Disney 3D, 2D horror show blend that we watched. Horror show's a bit strong, but I do feel like, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like it was better executed in this one, save for one
Yeah.
scene. There was one scene in this that made my eyes throw up all over my
I think
body.
I know which one.
Just went, bleh. But the 2D, 3D blend is less atrocious, but still rather jarring to me.
Well, what scene?
So let me scroll down to my notes here.
While he's scrolling.
I don't remember a particularly jarring scene.
There was one that seemed totally unnecessary.
I think Carl and I are on the same, but you go
Yeah.
ahead, please.
I was just gonna say, I think the movie as a whole looked a lot better. I thought
Oh,
all
yeah.
of the drawing looked cleaner. The animation, like the 3D animation that was in it, was better.
Yeah.
The mix is still weird, but just overall, everything
I
felt
like the-
higher quality.
yeah, the aesthetic overall better too than
Okay,
Atlantis.
let's do this then. So Atlantis or Treasure Planet? Which do you like more? I'm a firm Treasure
Yeah.
Planet.
Treasure Planet.
Like not even close.
Treasure Planet, yeah.
Treasure Planet,
I'm in
Treasure
that
Planet,
boat.
Treasure Planet. You seem like a fence rider.
I am a fence rider.
Okay. Why are you on the fence? What about Atlantis? Do you like, and like, I don't know, how do they stack up for you?
I think Treasure Planet's a better movie,
Okay.
but I have more nostalgia for Atlantis.
Okay. So you okay. So you're the only one I think who's seen Treasure Planet before. Carl, have you seen Treasure Planet before?
Yeah, but it had been a long time.
Okay, so you two had seen it. Nick and I had not. So is it that you watched Atlantis when you were younger, or you just seen it more times?
I've just seen it more times.
Okay.
I probably watched them about the same time because I mean,
You own them both, or
No, we didn't own either of them actually.
How did you?
With friends or
Okay.
I don't know. We went to Blockbuster and rented it at the movie
true.
store.
Yeah.
To be able to do that.
Man.
We
Just to
used
get
to
good
do
old
that.
days.
a physical thing and then pay a late fee. It was great.
It's wild. Please
we
be
liked,
kind and rewind.
There was one in Bellevue that you
Where's
could
to
keep
live
the
by?
movies for like a whole week instead of just like 2 days, and that was awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for me, the reason that I like this movie more is a couple things. I wrote them down. I prefer the setting. For example, in Atlantis, we spend quite a bit of time underground. Don't like it. Underground's boring.
Ooh.
Just caves. It's dark.
Do the opposite in this
The
one.
walls all look the same. We do the opposite. So we're in the sky where it's like, well, the sky's just blue or it's just a void. But you're on a ship, so you got like stuff to do on the ship, and ships are just cool, man. You know, like ships are freaking cool, especially this like cool blend of like 18th century like sail-based ships and also sun sails, and like I like the setting more. I think that you get like an innate sense of adventure when you set something on a vessel like that. You know, like you're just willing to like, oh, Moby Dick and whatever. And I enjoy that. Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, you get that vibe. You see a ship with sails on it, and you go,
Adventure.
It's boogie time. You know what I mean? Like it's like I like it. I like it. I think the hero is more competent in this one. Like in this one, he's a competent hero. He's just struggling with like.
Daddy issues.
He's got daddy issues. He's in trouble with the law all the time. He just can't keep himself straight, blah, blah, blah. Versus just, oh, a nerd. I'll find the woman and become competent at the very end. That is more...
Delbert kind of took that role in this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which it works better as like a minor character.
He also
like
took the love story angle, which I also prefer as the minor character in a movie like this. It's less detracting from the story.
Not as forced.
Yeah. Or in your face, I guess. You know, like I don't know. I don't.
It'd been too much, yeah.
I tried to quantify that, and it's not that I think that love stories are bad. I just when you've got a tight 90 minutes to do an animated film,
Right.
It's better when it's happening in subtext in the background for me.
All you need is a few little smiles and a few little comments, and it's just it works.
I also think the scale is a little tighter. I think that so in Atlantis we get introduced to a crew, but we're supposed to be endeared to them, and they have like archetypes. So we've got like explodey blowy uppy man. We've got like small girl who's like way smarter than she should be. We've got big wimpy incompetent main character. We've got big buff like muscle man with gun, and then we've got big like Arlie Ermy general military McMahon and whatever. And in this one we have
Military McMahon.
like 4 people. Like we have a crew, but they're
all the same.
they're all just pirate. This one looks like a spider, and he talks like this, and that's
He's
cool.
so creepy.
But like,
I liked his design.
when
though.
you have spider that talks like this, that's all you need. We don't have to remember his name. It's just that's Spider Guy,
He's evil.
and that's pirate,
Just-
and oh, that pirate's head is a different thing, and his tummy's a guy too, and like whatever. Like they're cool to look at. We don't care about their names, and it's inconsequential. And when they start dying, we're like, who cares? Because they're bad. So I like that. I just think that those things are why I prefer.
tighter.
And I just think it's a little better executed than Atlantis. I feel like they could both be the exact same length, and I feel like Treasure Planet is a shorter movie because it's just tighter to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know the creative team that did Atlantis, so maybe this comment is a disservice to them. But I mean, these two, whether Ron Clements and what was the other guy? I mean,
John
Little Mermaid,
Musker.
Aladdin, Hercules are all fantastic movies. So I mean, they know how to direct like a good Disney movie. So it makes sense that like those two together are going to put a good product out
Right.
there.
Right. So I like that. Let's talk about the animation style. I want to get stuck in on that.
Okay.
What do you all think 3D wise? Am I off base with thinking it was a little more eye palatable than Atlantis? Or I'll get onto my scene, Carl, in a second. That I hate.
Okay, I was about to say we need to. I don't think we ever finished
And
that.
Atlantis. I feel like Atlantis was a little more flat to me.
Yeah, like it was more 2D, and then they did those weird like landscape pans where they're like, look at what we can render, and then like underwater with the ship that they used for 5 minutes. That cool ass thing.
That they
Did it
stole from
blow
Phantom
up?
Menace.
They're like, yeah, the Phantom Menace. I forget what it's called. The Abraham Washington, whatever the hell it was called.
Nautilus?
They just
I don't know.
just blow that shit up, and you're like, that was so cool, and it's gone, dude. But they did, they had the 3D and the fish and whatever. But then it was a lot of because again, underground flat is flat.
Yeah, true. That might have played into it.
So here's a wiki quote. This isn't a quote from them, so I don't know what this is inherently from, but from Wikipedia. One of the film's goals was to blend different mediums of animation into one film to have such a seamless finish to the point the viewer could not tell the difference between what was two-dimensional hand drawing or computer-generated 3D animations and environments. Failure.
I feel like that's a silly goal. Like, those are just two distinct styles. Why would you not be able to tell the difference?
I don't know if it was seamless, but I didn't find it jarring either.
I did in certain things. So the scene I'm talking about,
Yeah.
Carl, there's a scene in the movie. I forget where I have this in my notes. There's a
have to
scene
do
in the
with
movie.
Morph.
Oh, I found it. I think it's Silver, our mutinous villain, and he goes down below deck, and he's searching for something. And for some reason, they switch to a first-person view and pan left, right, up, down. And I swear to God, it's at like 15 frames per second.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
To give them maybe an extra couple frames. Like, I think that might be an overshoot. It was gross.
I do remember that. This movie, I again watched in VR,
So dumb.
Oh my god.
and that scene was that's
crazy.
That scene was wild.
Oh, did that just hurt? Did
A little bit,
One of
a
those
little bit.
things in VR, like there's when I've done VR, there's certain things like that where I can suddenly like feel my optic nerve dying.
Yeah,
And I feel
Yeah.
like that's what it would be like.
it felt like the headset was like floating off my head.
No.
In a pleasing way?
No.
Or in a, I'm in hell right
I was like,
now.
I probably was holding onto the headset at that point.
Hang on.
That shot probably took him like 2 weeks. And for what?
Yeah.
For what? To make
It was
everybody
the only
throw up?
like that too. Like that kind of panning wasn't really done in anything else, and that wasn't. It didn't like lift too much
that's-
doing it. It just seemed strange, like a weird
That's
choice.
when he's like looking for the kid, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think so.
So maybe it was supposed to be like.
He's like, well, I think it
suspense.
was Jim was looking for Morph because he had run off with the
It was
orb or
yeah, I
whatever.
don't remember what character it was, and I didn't pull the movie back up, but it just. I hated it. Now,
Yeah, it
I
was an
do
odd
think it
choice.
was better than Atlantis. I still think, though, every time they did a 3D something, like when they took off with the ship and they did the panning, or with the when he's sailing on his surfboard with a thing on it, it pulls me out immediately because I can, if their goal was seamless transition between 2D and 3D, I don't think so. I just don't think so. But I think it's less like, what did I write down? I wrote immersion breaking at best and then downright visually assaulting at worst. That's a little bit dramatic. But for example, that first person scene, that was unacceptably poor. Now, to praise the film, there were elements of it that I did think blended quite well. For example, Silver's arm.
Yeah.
It would be it looked like a mostly 2D character, and then his arm would whiz about, like when he's introduced and he's like doing all the cooking and whatever. I thought the arm was pretty cool, but that's like, you've already got a juxtaposition between like human flesh and metal.
Right.
So it's a little more acceptable for my brain and eyeballs to like the 3D animation there. Did we just lose Carl? My goodness gracious, he's frozen. Hey, Carl's fixed. So, I was saying something about his arm. So yeah, the arm was 3D animated, and I thought that was fine. Like I mentioned a second ago, I don't know if Carl heard it. The blend between like skin and like metal robot arm is a little easier for my brain to like accept as a blend between 2D and 3D. But yeah, I think you were saying like, there's no way they drew that. Nah, they animated.
Yeah, I
that.
was like, that'd be a nightmare. I was like, oh my god.
They animated that.
That arm is so sick though. That's like the coolest like accessory that I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
Like that thing can do everything. Have they ever tried to make that in Mythbusters? Or is that
or
just
like,
impossible?
It's like Inspector Gadget, but just on one arm. It's sick.
MacGuffin arm, yeah. It's got everything.
I looked up a little bit about the 3D, 2D animation process, which is called Deep Canvas. I watched a video of.
Do we got to give everything a name?
Listen, I didn't come up with it.
I would have called it Bill.
Bill.
Bill?
Yeah, just sure.
It's like a bill.
Just give it a name.
What was the one character's name? Ben.
Yeah. What's our
Call it
3D
Ben.
2D animation? Charles. Why not? Deep. What was it called? Deep Space Nine.
I already forgot. Deep Canvas.
Canvas.
Deep Camp Boo.
But no, I was watching like behind the scenes of Tarzan, which also used the same process.
Ooh.
And they
probably for
like-
like when he slides on the vine
Exactly
and they do the pan.
that.
There was a
exactly
few
that.
moments where it felt like Tarzan to me, but I couldn't say that to
You
Cameron.
seen Tarzan?
No.
He
Me
hasn't
either.
seen it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen some of it. I know David hates a lot of the Phil Collins
Shoobadoo,
soundtrack.
shabadash,
Let me just say-
shabadoo,
Phil Collins. The
I haven't
soundtrack.
seen the movie. I've heard the soundtrack.
David doesn't like the what's that one? What's that song called?
Trash in the can.
Yeah, banging on the pots,
Bop
whatever.
it, shoobadoo, shabadab.
That song
Shee-doo.
blows, but the rest of it, the rest of that soundtrack,
It's
rules.
It's
dude.
great.
It rules. It rules.
Oh my gosh.
It rules.
It's like, yeah.
I was at Disney. We were at Disney with David one time. David and his wife Marianne, and we were in the Harbor House because, of course, we were because it's great.
That's where you
We
go.
probably just had ridden Haunted Mansion 45 times in a row.
Probably.
And we ate at Harbor House. And it was right when they banned straws. They got rid of the plastic
Ooh.
straws for some reason. Or not for some reason, but for some reason I remember that.
Yeah.
And David went on the whole rant about that movie soundtrack and that song. And a table next to us not only overheard it, but was like, "You're on to something." Like they were on board with David. Which just, you could see Danielle and Marianne die a little bit because we got affirmed
You were
by
yeah.
strangers
Yeah.
for our Disney rant about trash in the camp.
Trash in the camp.
Stupid. That song's bad. But the rest of that soundtrack rules.
It was great.
But anyway, Tarzan.
But yeah,
Tarzan.
I watched the behind the scenes of them making that, and it wasn't exactly what you're talking about. The like swinging through the branches scenes.
Yeah.
Where they'll like create a 3D model of the branches, and then like twist it around and like see every aspect of it and draw on top of it, and it remembers where every stroke is for every frame, and they just frame by frame draw on the character. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I don't understand that, but I don't need
Hurts
to.
my
was-
brain.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you see it,
It was very impressive for 2000.
it's probably frame by frame or however many frames, and they just add a new.
Yeah.
Which is what you got to do when you're drawing anyway. So you're just doing it instead of on a 2D space. Maybe you're just doing it on a 3D thing with that added
Right.
element of panning. So you got to change perspective of the characters you're drawing it. Who knows?
I don't know. Talent.
Talent. Good job. I don't know why it works better in Tarzan.
Well, you don't know that. You haven't seen it.
I've seen that scene though.
Oh,
Like I knew
okay.
exactly what he was talking about. Like there's that one where he's like sliding down in that really
Yeah,
thick
and it, like,
moss-covered vine, and
crisscrosses.
it, like yeah.
Yep.
So
Feet could never slide on trunks.
you don't know you're not Tarzan?
You weren't raised in the jungle?
Yeah,
With the
maybe
nut
he's got like
calluses,
That's it.
maybe.
That's how gravity works.
maybe he's got like such callous soles.
No.
It's like those soap shoes. Remember soap shoes?
It's not real.
Carl remembers soap shoes.
Fake news.
They were like Heelys, but they didn't have a wheel. The middle of
They
the
had
sole,
soap.
so like the arch was like a hard, smooth plastic, so that you could like grind down rails at your school.
Oh my gosh.
So you go to a skate park just in basically plastic bottom Skechers and sketch and like grind on rails while skateboarders want to kill you with a gun.
Sheesh.
I was losing my mind at one of the voice actresses. So, and it's Sarah Hawkins, which is Jim's mom. She runs the Benbow Inn, right? I don't know if Carl, you said, I wonder if you had the same thing as me. Her voice was like, I was sitting there going like, I have a deep seated connection to this voice, and I can't pinpoint why. So I did what I do to annoy Danielle, and I paused the
you do.
movie. And I looked it up, and this is again Jim's mother, and she's played by Laurie Metcalf, who voices Andy's mom in Toy Story, which is the first.
Yeah.
Toy Story 1 and 2 were like the first movies that I liked as a kid.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, I've been hearing this woman for 30 years. And so that felt nice. But
Yeah.
looking up the voice cast spoiled the movie for me.
I almost told him to
Really?
stop. I almost I saw him over there scrolling, and I was like,
Spoiled
it.
the
Stop it.
movie for me. I'll tell you how. In the voice cast section of Wikipedia, Brian Murray is listed as, I'm quoting, John Silver, a cyborg bear-like alien who leads the mutiny on the RLS. And I
I didn't
saw
need that little bit of information
No.
in the
We're
bio.
talking 12 minutes in, and I went, well, and then they
He's a
introduce him.
bear?
I guess that also shocked me, but not as much as having the entire plot of the movie
Yeah.
spoiled for me in one clause.
Isn't that the Treasure Island plot?
Yeah, probably, but I haven't read that or seen the 1950s movie, which I would like to see. I did read, because I know nothing about Treasure Island, I did read one critic be like, it's more of like inspired by Treasure Island than like a direct copy of Treasure
Yeah,
Island.
they
Like
kind
had to
of
take
combine
some-
a couple characters and things, or introduce some other ones, and
Yeah, and
I read that he was a little more angsty in this movie.
one of the big critiques that I read was John's our main guy, right? Our kiddo. So
Jim.
he is an adolescent in this. He's a teenager. In Treasure Island, he's a child. So it takes some whimsy away, because it's not like a child doing like spectacular things. It's like a teenager being competent, so it takes a little bit of that.
yeah, it's
like,
more. It's kind
our
of a coming
kid's
of
a
age story.
hero.
I mean, I wouldn't want to watch like a 7-year-old be with mutinous pirates. That seems intense. You know? But I guess
Yeah,
if you...
but that's like, wouldn't that be exciting?
I guess. I mean, not for me as a 7-year-old. I'd be scared.
Well, yeah, obviously.
But
I'm
I'm
like picking my nose. And
Yeah.
I really hated overalls.
I don't know.
as
It
a
makes
kid.
more sense as a teenager to me.
Just gloss over that.
How are you? How are you on overalls now?
I hate them.
He still hates
Still
them.
hate.
Yeah, there's things that I hated when I was a kid, and it was overalls and like button-up shirts. Like we're talking 3 years old, and I just thought like button-up shirts for me. I think they're like I don't just not like them. It triggers like disgust in my brain. Like they're gross. Like in the same way earthworms are gross. I've been talking to my therapist about this. He doesn't know why. He can't figure it out. Can I talk about a thing I really hated about this movie? By the way, if you're listening and you're like, man, they sure hate Treasure Planet. No, we don't. I'm just, I'm gonna praise it too, but the soundtrack. Wow.
Dude,
so most of it's great. Most of the soundtrack is great. The same composer that did this, like the orchestral, like composed music, he helped Hans Zimmer write on the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh,
like
wow.
he's done really good
And it's
music.
very like, well, I think even the backing that we have here is very like, it just helps feed into that sense of adventure.
Yeah.
You know, you get your little flutes and your little swells when
And
you need
then
them.
the Goo Goo Dolls guy comes out and sings some bullshit. And it's really annoying.
That montage of him with not Hook.
Hook.
Wow, different boat movie.
Nick, by the way, saw Hook before Peter Pan.
I still haven't seen Peter Pan, but I have seen Hook.
He saw Hook and
Same.
just sat there confused. And David realized what an hour
Halfway
in,
through, he
like,
paused it and went, wait.
You don't know what's going. You have no frame of reference, which is awesome. It's like dropping you into Return of the Jedi and just being like, yeah, man, there's ghost people. It's chill. This guy's dad's a black robot. Go ahead.
Oh, man.
What are we talking about?
I don't even remember.
Oh, the Goo Goo Dolls music.
Oh,
They
dude,
do
no.
that stupid montage.
The
which I think is
montage.
fine. The montage is cool.
The montage was fine, but the song that was with it was so
Dumb.
early 2000s butt rock.
Yeah, it's like Daughtry could have
I
written.
liked it. It was so of its time, but I liked it.
It was.
It doesn't like if
And that's what he was listening. He had that earring. He had the long black hair. Like that's
Absolutely.
what he was listening to.
like, dude. I just want you to know who I am. And I'm like, dude, if we used just like a normal Disney adventure song, this montage would have been better. Instead, I'm mad that I'm hearing like butt rock. By Disney. And then the credits rolled and they played a second. I just shut it off.
That one was worse. That one was worse. No, but nothing hits. Like, did you ever as a kid, like, put on one of those songs and, like, stare out the window of the car and like,
just be angsty.
get
and
in
rain
your
coming
feels?
down.
Stare out the window of the
Yeah.
car is so specific, but very real.
like
No,
on a road
'cause-
trip and you're just in your feelings for no reason because you're 15?
Yeah. You have no feelings, but you think it's good to feel
It's
them.
so
That was me
good.
with Creed.
I never got to have that
Yeah.
experience because my mom was playing like Mercy Me in the car.
Well,
man.
that sucks to be you.
FFH. and-
Mom,
and
turn off Delilah. I want to listen to Creed.
Michael W. Smith CDs on repeat.
W.
Do you know hell? You know what hell is like? It's like driving to Atlanta, Georgia from here, which for the listeners is between 6.5 and 8 hours, depending on how small your children are and how long it takes for them to eat at McDonald's. And just listening to the same Mercy Me CD on repeat.
They didn't even have multiple CDs.
They did sometimes. It was like, all right, we're going to bounce between Mercy Me, FFH, and like Michael W. Smith.
FFH.
And yo, these are 24-minute CDs. So you listen to each of them, 1,900 times on the way up?
Only imagine.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Just staring at the CD like plastic clamshell, like, ugh, God.
I like the song in this movie. I'm not ashamed.
Yeah, I like it too.
I love that for
I
y'all.
like it. It gives me.
Silver pulled back the boat and he got to
Feelings.
drop in.
Yeah.
He fixed the dad thing.
All right, let's talk about the boat
bonding.
dropping in.
It's good.
Let's cut to our regular segment on the show called Cameron Doesn't Understand How Something Works because it's not
are
narratively
the
explained very well.
rules?
And it's called What Are the Rules? I don't know what the rules are with the fake gravity. I don't understand.
Yeah, where does it
Oh.
stop?
Where
is
does
my
it
question.
stop How does it know when it's
Yeah,
finished?
is it like a vapor around the boat?
Is it a shield?
Is it
I don't.
contained in there somehow with a shield?
I don't know.
Like,
Because and the reason we ask this is like, so the ship takes off at the very beginning of the movie, like our call to adventure. We all get on the ship. We have a crew. The captain doesn't like the crew. Who cares? We take off. We start to lift because it's space. We're lifting up off the deck, and then activate artificial gravity. And artificial gravity happens, and we all get slammed down on the deck or whatever, and it's neat. It's neato. Then later, we're just in space with artificial gravity, and we lose a man to a black hole because it has a boundary that's not defined at all, either visually or narratively.
Well, he was
And-
like fully off the.
Yeah, but how far does it do? If it's making its own gravity,
like-
why doesn't he orbit it when he lets go?
Right. Like,
It's
what
'cause
about
he
the
has
part
to.
where
Well, that's-
anti-gravity
okay,
meets
okay.
gravity?
That was a stupid thing for me to say because black holes have a quite large gravitational pull.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing that I really don't get about it is like we're on a ship with artificial gravity, and then we have dinghies underneath that can just drop.
Right. And also,
Is the gravity maybe it's only on the deck?
when they're on the smaller boats that drop,
Yeah.
like there's a scene where what was his name? Bill?
I don't know.
Freak. What's the main character?
Jim.
Jim. Close
Bill.
enough.
This is-
Generic white guy
This
name.
is why, by the way, it's nice to name your characters like Han Solo because it's not Bill.
Okay, but we also
we
had
can
like
remember it.
Luke
But
What's
he-
his last name?
Skywalker.
Pretty cool. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Memorable. Jabba the Hutt. We're gonna remember that. Boba Fett. No, Bill.
But he like is jumping onto the ship as it's falling, and there's like gravity, and he's on the side. Like it just
understand.
doesn't make sense.
And the answer is kids movie.
Don't worry about it.
Kids
Yeah.
movie. Don't worry about it. It's not that bad. I'm not
Yeah.
actually that mad about
it's,
it, but
it's
I did.
sci-fi like Star Wars is sci-fi.
Right. In
Yeah.
that, like, you know, the George Lucas, I think, was asked at one point, like, why are there sounds in space? Because space is vacuum. There's no sounds. You know, there's the whole alien thing in space. No one can hear you scream. And he's like, there's sounds in my space.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, it's.
I mean, to
it's
be fair,
narrative.
it's a completely different solar
The
system.
other thing I think about is, like, how do they know which way's up?
Completely different
It was a
universe.
long time ago.
How do you know what's up?
Ooh.
Your ship, how do you, why didn't they, like, land on a planet like this and then go, all right, we need to pivot? Like, I don't know. Because it wouldn't matter, and that's dumb thing to think about. But I don't know. I like it. I'm not mad. I think it's fun. Ben, let's talk about Martin Short.
Yeah.
Ben is our robot comic relief that head scratchingly we don't see until the third act.
I
Maybe
totally forgot.
Maybe my favorite.
It's the end of the movie. Ben comes
What?
out,
Yeah.
and I just
annoying.
want to pose this.
I'm glad you only get like 25 minutes of him because the
Yeah, 'cause
whole
he's
movie would have
grading.
been too much.
Now, here's why. You want to know why it would be too much? This is my observation because we can't not talk about Star Wars. Ben is Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
Ben is Jar Jar Binks. He's clumsy,
In a
loud,
C-3PO package.
clumsy, loud, borderline irritating comic relief, and yet essential to the resolution of the plot. He's Jar Jar Binks. You cannot wrap up Phantom Menace without Jar Jar
And
Binks.
he's
We
secretly
got
a
a
Sith
grand
Lord.
army, you know, and bringing the Gungans to fight the droid force. You can't wrap up Phantom Menace without that. You can't wrap up this movie without the robot leading them to the interior of the planet, and et cetera, et cetera. I think that what makes him less irritating than Jar Jar Binks is we don't meet him 15 minutes
Yeah.
in and then have to drag him around for 2 hours. We meet him an hour and 20 minutes in, and we only have to deal with him for
Just a little
25
bit.
minutes.
Just a little bit.
Because, man, he's loud. Martin Short was really just in that booth, just screaming.
nailed it.
And
He
he's
just
great.
is.
He's great. They had to make
Packs a lot of lines in his time there.
they had to make a narrative decision with him to not robot up his voice. Because they're like, nah, we're going to take too much away. We got to just let Martin Short loose. But yeah, it reminded me a little bit of the Robots movie that I also haven't seen.
Yeah, but
Yeah, the
style-
one Robin
style.
Williams'
Yep,
character.
I think so.
Yeah.
Just character design wise. I had the GBA video game, which sucked.
Thought you were talking about Wall-E,
Nope.
which kind of similar idea, right? I haven't seen Wall-E.
Not at all.
Isn't Wall-E
Yeah,
like
Wally's
abandoned
got daddy
somewhere?
issues, and then the pirate comes and gets him, and yeah.
No, Wally is not like Treasure Planet at all.
No. But isn't Wall-E like stranded somewhere by himself?
Yeah.
He's just on Earth. He's just on Earth.
But
that's
isn't
his-
there like no humans or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
because,
they-
they're all
He's like a cleanup
trashed her.
robot.
I'm just saying he's alone, and so was this character. Again, I haven't seen the movie,
it's
obviously.
You're reaching.
Quite the
Yeah.
line to draw.
This is Star Wars because
I
space.
draw a
Yeah,
shorter
right.
line. It reminded me of Iron Giant.
That's way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reminded me of Super Bowl 50. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Yeah, there's a ball.
Did the character designs remind anybody a little bit of like Lilo and Stitch?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alien
Yeah.
Life-wise, yeah.
Funny you say that.
I'll buy that.
Funny you say that because Disney. In
Oh,
the
wow!
beginning,
Heard of 'em.
in the beginning of the movie, there's a Stitch
There is.
plush
No,
Baby
caught
Stitch.
that.
in his bedroom.
Oh.
There is. Yeah, when his mom goes to snuggle up with him on the bed, they do a quick like pan to a shelf
think-
and Stitch in his spacesuit is up.
Lilo and Stitch came out earlier the same year.
Yeah, it did come out earlier this year.
Oh, okay.
That's a
Didn't know what
good
the timeline was.
segue to why do we think this movie flopped? What? Because what was wrong with it? Why do we think it flopped? I have my reasons written down. I want to hear from everybody else first.
I think it was just a little bit of like visually a hard sell. Like if I'm watching this trailer, the aliens are kind of funky. The story seems kind of funky. If I'm a parent, like it's like kind
If you're a parent, I think is crucial there because I watched
Yeah.
the trailers as a kid and loved.
I
wanted to
remember
watch this
thinking
so
it looked.
bad.
I remember thinking it looked cool. I just feel like the package of it looks very different for Disney, so
Yeah.
maybe the parents didn't buy in.
I'm sad I waited like 24 years to watch this.
Yeah.
Carl, what do you think? Why do you think this movie flopped?
I'm not sure because, to me, I thought it held up in the way that like Atlantis didn't.
I agree.
And
I agree. I think it's
Yeah,
better,
and I
a
was
much
like
better
kind of,
movie.
I don't know. Maybe it is just because I mean, there's not like much singing in it, which I liked, but maybe that's what people were expecting.
This is
would.
one
You
of
would.
only a
Yeah.
handful.
You would.
Yeah,
handful
yeah, I really
of
don't know.
non-singing movies.
yeah.
You have a thought, or I'll just pop
yeah, I
off.
don't
Okay,
know.
here we go. Here's my reasons, and I think for one, stacked year for film. 2002. Let me just list a couple: Spider-Man, the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man, Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Star Wars Episode 2: Attack of the Clones, Ice Age, Lilo and Stitch, and the animated Academy Award winner for that year, Spirited Away.
That's a lot.
Oh, wow.
Man,
Spirited
a
Away
lot.
came out the month before this.
that's crazy because this is definitely the best movie out of all
By the way,
of those.
Spirited Away did come out in 2000. That is going to win you no favors. That must have been a meme.
But this is so distinct
Obviously,
from all
yes.
of that too. You would think
Well,
That would
the
kinda
other
stand out
things
in some
are,
way.
Like, you know, it had the jarring animation too, which didn't get it. That was like a critique among a lot of the reviews I read.
But is it
the
jarring
animation's
now?
jarring. No,
Or do you
I think
think-
it's,
because
I think it's more jarring now. But also,
Yeah.
I think it may have been just as jarring back in its time because if you think about it,
Maybe.
now we have better 3D animation. We've had 20 years, more than 20 years to improve on things, 23 years to improve on things, right? But back then, too, we're so comfortable with 2D and 3D separately. So we've got like Pixar in one corner. Pixar was still helmed by Steve Jobs at this point. Pixar in one corner, and then you've got the Disney traditional 2D animation with your Beauty and the Beast and your whatnots. So this is a weird blend, and weird innovation's always strange.
I wonder if that's how it was pitched too.
The other
Like it's
thing
this
is,
new crazy concept movie.
I think the other thing is how it was pitched, which
Yeah.
is if you're a parent and you're going Treasure Island but space,
Yeah.
you know.
It sounds weird.
So that might have been a tough sell. So something among those factors. I mean, and Disney released 2 of those animated movies I talked about, Lilo and Stitch, and they actually facilitated the U.S. release of Spirited Away, which released the year before.
Maybe that's where they spend all their money.
So, well, that's not true because there were toy tie-ins. There were a lot of commercials and ads. There were commercials began to be shown alongside Spider-Man in theaters and also Attack of the Clones. So those were, I believe, summer and spring releases. Two Towers didn't come out till December. All the Lord of the Rings movies were the week before Christmas. I believe this one was December 18th.
Yeah, I wonder if this was released in summer instead of November. If
Right.
maybe it would have done better.
Because it's in that tough holiday slot too. You know,
Yeah.
you've got your thing. I mean, what did I say? November 28th or something like that.
7th.
I feel like Disney usually does like
November 27th, so
Thanksgiving releases.
Thanksgiving, yeah. But again, stacked
But
But
years.
this feels like a summer adventure movie.
Though. Yeah. it
And
does.
how many movies are you going to take your kids to go see a
Yeah.
year? You know what I mean? If you've got Lilo and Stitch and Spirited Away in the same year, if you're a little bit older, you've got Spider-Man, Star Wars, Harry Potter,
Yeah.
Harry Potter,
all in the same year.
All those big IPs.
Ice Age. Ice Age was
Ice
big.
Age rules.
Yeah.
I liked Ice Age.
That's kind of a new, kind of minimalist movie too, though, because it's a very tight cast, like very small, and it was mostly white backgrounds. So
Yeah,
kind of a similar thing with the underground Atlanta scenes.
yeah. I liked
know.
Ice Age. It's a good
Yeah.
movie. But that's got the fun aspect of like it's animals talking too,
Yeah.
And that's DreamWorks, right?
Yes.
They've got a whole other machine behind things.
Did Lilo and Stitch go in the summer? I'm sure.
I'm sure it had to
Probably.
have.
Yeah.
That probably scratched the itch then, because that's kind of a hybrid alien
Yeah, it's another alien
family movie.
Another
So it's like,
alien
oh, we're doing
family
this
movie.
again, but yeah.
That one's got the added draw of, I mean, most of the sound. Okay, maybe not most, but a lot of the soundtrack was Elvis, which rules. So the Lilo and Stitch soundtrack is banging. That's a good movie. Bums me out though. I can't watch a lot of Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, it's kind of a.
I probably haven't seen it in 15 years, and I'm good, dude. I don't need to be bummed.
They're doing that live action soon.
Ohana means family. I got it, dude. I don't need to. I don't need to,
we don't
make
need
you
to think
sad.
about the
Got it.
rest.
Family means nobody gets left behind. Oh, forgot to.
Stitch is one of those impressions. I feel like everybody's got a stitch in their
Yeah.
back pocket.
Well, it's just you just kind of talk through your.
Him
I
and
don't
Arnold
even know
both.
what. Yeah.
Like close
got
your
a
soft
nasally-
palate. Yeah.
I had a thought at the beginning of the movie because, like, for Prince of Persia, you really get thrown into the middle of the action in the beginning, and for like Cameron, it like didn't land for you at all. But I feel like with this, within the first 10 minutes, we've established our characters, we've blown up their inn, we've set off on our adventure, and I feel a lot more connected to them than I did to anybody of Prince of Persia. It's like, do you agree? Like,
I agree.
What do you think was
let
different?
me think about the difference. So Prince of Persia, I think that what Prince of Persia does is it drops characters on us, 3 or 4 of them, and it makes them important because it says they're important, right? So we've got a big emperor guy in charge, and these are his sons. Therefore, he's important because of his status, and they're important because they're his children, right? That's what we've got. We've got an enemy that we haven't really explained, like they're just there and
Right.
for some reason, and they're bad because it says they are, right? In this movie, we've got an adventurous teen who's flying on his surfboard deal through the sky, which, first of all, cool. And we also get to the point quicker in this. So in Prince of
Yeah,
Persia,
that's
we've got
true.
this whole battle that we don't care about because it just started. And again, to critique it, they tried to do Helm's Deep scale, but if you remember, Helm's Deep happens in the 3rd act of the movie. We've been building to that for 2 hours plus. This battle happens within 15 minutes. In Treasure Planet, we have the kid gets arrested by the cops. His dad left, so we know we have a little bit of a reason to why he's
Way more
rebellious.
relatable.
His mother's stressed out because she's running an inn single-handedly. We've got this neurotic guy who's just kind of there, but he's a professor. He's also played by Niles from Frasier, which is awesome. And then we get kicked off with pirate crash lands just outside. He's got a chest. He hands them this map. He's tied to this legend that we opened the movie with at the beginning. He dies. They figure out how to open the map, and that's our call to adventure. That is way more compelling than a battle that we haven't been given a good reason to care about.
Yeah.
That's what I think the difference is. And it was done in less time, more efficiently.
At the beginning of Prince of Persia, I was confused. It was like, I don't know who to root for right now.
Yeah, or why I'm rooting for. Like, we have
Right.
protagonists, but why do we care about them?
Yeah.
Because like, that's it. It's just because. And this movie gives us it gives our characters clear reasons, which I think just speaks to. It's hard because it's both Disney, right? But for whatever reason, the animation team just is on it. These storytellers. I mean, Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hercules, for God's sake.
I love Hercules.
It reminds me, do we think in the beginning of this movie that the book was a regular book and we're just seeing it through the kids' lens, or was it some kind of fancy book in their universe?
Like that thought.
Because there's a lot of crazy tech in
Yeah,
this
I thought
movie.
I
was
think
a
it's a
fancy
fancy
book.
book.
I'm gonna
Like that's how
go
what we
with-
saw is reality.
I'm gonna go with fancy book.
Yeah.
But I like
like that.
where you're coming from. I
Yeah.
like that. It's a good.
I didn't even consider that. It was just
No,
his
that's.
vivid
Did you
imagination.
read that
Yeah.
somewhere?
no,
No,
that was
a
my
good
first.
thought.
That was my
Come
first thought.
on.
That's a good thought.
your
Did you
first,
read that
uh,
somewhere?
It's
Screw
called an
you.
episode. Nick had a good thought.
Finally, it finally happened.
Episode 100 and whatever this is, 13 or so. I think that part of that too is Prince of Persia's 2-hour movie. This movie's like what, an hour 40,
Hour 30.
Yeah.
hour 30. So that little tight, you got to tighten up. So
Yeah.
also kids movies, so they're
Simpler.
a little simpler, and I think simple's good.
Digestible.
A simple story told well is better than in like bloated story.
Again, too, this movie doesn't do what Prince of Persia did, which is start off breakneck and keep that pedal to the freaking metal the whole time. This starts out slow. It lets us develop, and it's still
Slow,
efficient.
but not really.
It's efficient.
Yeah.
It's not just fast. So I don't know.
I still really liked the
Yes,
second half of
we
Prince
know
of Persia.
you liked Prince.
Going on record.
I know
Uh,
that movie sucks. It's you.
I really liked that.
just
Not even the cast. Not even the people in the movie.
People in the movie are like, wow.
Man.
Shoot.
I was gonna say I really liked that farting alien.
Yeah, that
I was
guy,
laughing like a kid. Yeah.
I am fluent in flatua.
Yeah, I laughed too. Like a
Flatulent
kid.
or something.
You
Yeah.
can tell this movie was targeted for boys because there was a fart alien. 100%.
Okay,
100%.
let's put another Lego brick on that thought.
Yeah.
Is that why you think you don't like it as much compared to Atlantis? Is Atlantis has a little more of that? We've got that female with the native female lady that kind of gives you something to tie into, whereas the only female character in this movie is the captain, who is a
But
badass.
she's awesome.
And she's
Yeah.
played by who?
Oh my gosh, Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson, who is a badass, but she's a minor character. She's a B tier character. She's not at the forefront. Whereas in Atlantis, you have almost a co-protagonist for the second half of
Right.
the movie.
That's probably why like younger Danielle felt more connected to Atlantis, I think, because like I've said before on this podcast that especially as a kid, if there wasn't a girl in it, like I was out.
Yeah.
I was mad. I wanted a girl. But like as we're talking about this, like I feel like I would go back and watch this more sooner like in the future than I would watch Atlantis again.
I agree with that. I said last night I would watch this again. I would not watch Atlantis again.
So I feel like as we're talking about it, this is kind of like creeping up. I don't know why. I want to be nice to Atlantis, but I just this kind of elicits more emotion from me.
Yeah, there's movies that when we talk about on the show, I feel really angry about. There's movies that I don't get any feeling about, and then there's movies like this where I get a little excitement in my little chest cavity. And
Yeah.
this is one of those movies. And I think the setting's doing a lot of heavy lifting. Again, the voice cast is good. Like, I mean, for God's sakes, the lead is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
would be impactful to me if I knew what he sounded like and had seen any movies with him in it at all.
You've seen one.
What have I seen?
10 Things I Hate About You.
Yep.
Oh, well, he's a fetus.
His voice
in that
sounds
movie.
different though. Like he
Yeah,
kind of
he's
gives me some Michael J.
12.
Fox in
I mean,
this.
it's only like, I think 10 Things was like 98, 99, so it wasn't that much later,
just a few
So
years
much
later.
right?
It's 2002. So.
I
He
don't
was in
remember.
a movie that you'll never watch called The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I was
God.
gonna say that's what I know him from. But that movie,
500 Days of Summer.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not. Me and JGL,
Inception.
we don't cross.
I think he cute. He a little
We
cutie.
don't cross.
Before we get too far off
I
of
don't know. He
Captain,
looks like a mailman. Is he that cute?
A mail-
He looks like a
Mailman.
mailman. I would see him with a satchel, putting letters in a door and running from a dog.
cutely.
I think he had that exact outfit on in 500 Days of Summer.
I mean, yeah, cutely, but like in a mailman or milkman way.
Milkman.
I think that's a
I
wild
respect
thing. I don't
mailmen
know.
and milkmen. If milkmen were still around, but like, you know what I mean? I don't know. You're not Harrison
I don't.
Ford.
I
He's
don't
not
really
Harrison
know.
Ford.
Hipstery, I guess. Yeah, I don't.
Soft,
Yeah.
approachable. You know, very like you're
Sensitive.
These are positive qualities.
They are
sensitive.
positive qualities, but not qualities that would endear a man to me. Is
All
all I'm
right,
saying.
that's fair. Endears him to me though.
Because I'm so soft and sensitive,
Yeah.
right?
That's what I
Yeah,
know about
you are.
Cameron.
That's what you know about me.
Yeah, that is what I know.
I have one more point I wanted to bring up, and it was just about the setting. I really enjoyed the blend of like 18th century ships with a more like fantasy inspired take on sci-fi.
Yeah.
So like they didn't do the very clean, crisp 2001 Star Trek approach to sci-fi, where everything is like spotless and shiny white and, you know, like Camino on in Attack of the Clones, like that kind of deal. Nor the like industrial, worn in, like 1977 Star Wars or Alien, for example. They did a more like, we just took the 18th century and we said, instead of ocean, sky.
We plugged it in.
They
That's really cool.
they had a hard 70-30 rule where it had to be 70% like the time frame that the book was in, and then 30% sci-fi.
That's a good rule. I
cool.
read too that they did that exact thing for the music, where they wanted it to be 70% classic and then 30%
2000s.
I stand by it.
Would you guys say that this was more steampunk or solar punk? Because I think in the last episode I
heck
said
is
that this was more
solar
steam. Solar punk is like more.
Can I
I
Google?
don't know,
Is that
it's-
Googleable? If I
Google solar punk. It's
will
kind of a
things
new.
come
I
up?
think it was like a yogurt commercial that like kind of introduced the idea of solar punk. That might be wrong, but
I
it's
think
more
you're
of
making
a.
all of this up.
It's more if it's more like if cottagecore was sci-fi.
Okay.
You keep saying words that I've never heard in my life.
If
here,
cottagecore
here.
was sci-fi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody Google, because I don't have the ability to put shit on the screen yet. Google steampunk versus solar punk and go to Google Images. So,
Because I think this might have been like kind of the first
'cause you know what
instance, or like at least a
steampunk is,
precursor.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like fantasy, but like everything's
Gears.
like gears and
Yeah, this was less
and
gears.
Big goggles.
goggles. And
Solar
Blade
punk feels like it's
masks.
more of a naturalist approach to technology, which
There's
this
like
felt like.
bushes and it's
Yeah.
it's tall buildings with a lot of windows. It's almost like Victorian-esque, but with not covered in.
It's taking
train
advantage
soot.
of the natural energies as well.
All right, I
like
like that.
sales and stuff. Yeah.
Solar punk yogurt commercial.
It's it's like
Chobani yogurt goes solar
Yeah.
punk. Oh. Yeah,
It's a pretty good commercial.
oh
Yeah.
So it's like a standard like Midwest American farm with like rolling hills and greenery, but also
Oh, dude.
crazy blimps in the sky.
there are so many
Yeah.
punks.
There's punks.
Adam Punk, Diesel Punk,
Yeah, Diesel Punk is Mad
Sandal
Max.
Punk, Steampunk, obviously.
I haven't heard
Bio,
of Sandal Punk.
Stone and Cattle Punk.
Cattle punk.
Cattle Punk. These are new to me. I only knew a
Sheesh.
couple.
Well, you knew
This is
looking-
also Reddit, so that could all be
you knew
fake.
one more punk than I knew. I knew about steampunk. I didn't know about solar punk, but I like solar
Yeah.
punk. That's the future
Yeah.
that I want.
Yeah,
That's
agree.
if you had to pick one, that's the one you'd probably want to live in.
It's like farms but with airships.
Yeah.
Get the best of both worlds.
Well, cool.
It's like the Shire, but with solar panels on the roof.
I like it.
Sustainable energy.
Have you washed your solar panel, Mr. Frodo? Makes it more efficient when you do. Me old gaffer told me. Hit or miss? Anybody have anything else before we move on?
I feel like the cat lady was like my sexual awakening.
Yeah, now we're talking. I was
Something
about
the
it.
way- Something about like her teeth,
And her
like they were
little
sharp,
nose.
but like, yeah, and like she took charge, and her like boots went like all the way up her thighs.
It went
like,
all the way up her thighs to
I
her
think I
hips.
saw her, and I didn't remember this until I saw her again. I was just like, oh wait,
know-
something's clicking again.
This is the same thing that like Dexter's mom did for me on Dexter's Lab.
You know
Danny
the
Phantom's
meme-
mom, you know.
The meme of the lady
damn
who like
it,
takes a sip of something, makes a gross face, and then goes,
Brittany Broski.
Wait a minute, and then no, that was me with her. Like she came on scene, I went, huh? No, no.
No, I went, yes.
Yeah.
If I had seen this as a kid, I would have been like,
Yeah.
yup.
You would have been into that.
Yeah. Instead, it was My Life as a Teenage Robot and Raven from Teen Titans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Buttercup.
was my introduction to
Powerpuff
goth
Girls,
emo.
which is
Buttercup,
embarrassing.
yeah.
That's not
No,
embarrassing.
There's one of the little
Wait, is Buttercup
cheaty-
the green one?
Buttercup's the green one.
main-
yeah.
the
yeah.
main one? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Punch
the
me in
one.
the face.
We objectify men here, not women. Thanks.
Well, you're right.
These are robots, though. It's fine.
These robots and cartoons,
Aliens, cartoons.
I assume no hot points for this one.
No, he's a minor. That'd be
Also-
weird.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
weird.
We're talking about me as like a 10, 11 year old.
What about
not
Silver?
Like a 30. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah,
so-
no silver hot points.
Yeah, Silver.
By the way,
No hot points.
What
not
what
hot-
else
not
can
hot.
that arm do?
Oh god.
I would give my hot
Lord.
points to Captain Amelia as well here.
Oh yeah.
She's a,
Yeah. 10 out of 10.
no. And she's a strong woman. Nobody questions her. She's just
Yeah.
captain and she's in charge.
Imagine taking those boots off.
You brought that up last night. I don't know how you
Need
would do
a
it.
whole crew.
You would have to
that
have help.
would mutiny you.
Yeah.
maybe it's some future tech and it like
Just
takes
comes
itself
off.
She presses like a button on the heel and it splits along.
I mean,
the
if they had a zipper,
They just telescope back down.
but they couldn't be that smooth if there was a zipper.
yeah, there's no zipper in there. It's just animation
Yeah.
because it's a cartoon.
Well, yeah.
Hit or miss? Nick,
I'm gonna go hit.
hit. Carl,
Hit.
Daniel.
I'm gonna go hit. But I also
Nice.
I feel like we didn't talk about any of the emotions of this movie.
Yeah, who cares?
I
No,
care.
go ahead. You can,
Well, I don't
what
know.
Do you mean? What do you
just
mean? Elaborate.
like this movie just hits me in all the feels. Just you really feel for Jim. You like just watching him find like that father figure in Silver.
Which is
just
a choice.
him being betrayed by that, and then
Yeah.
like they're back and forth, and then Silver finally choosing to
Yeah.
like let go of the treasure and save him.
I kind of
Did that redemption arc bother you?
No, I
No.
liked it. I kind of feel like Silver almost had more character growth than anybody else in the movie did because
Yeah.
he is, the kid's just another crew member, whatever. Like he's gonna help me in the kitchen and swab my poop deck and stuff. But then he takes a liking to him, is feeling regrets about the mutiny plans because of him, then goes along with it, and then always has that connection, comes back, and it's till at the end. So he is like, he's got like a face turn, heel turn, face turn thing, and I dig it.
But also, if I'm the kid, I'm like, you tried to kill me, dude. Like, it was very forgiven, very easy, I thought.
He's
you go through
desperate
a
for a
lot.
well,
father
he didn't
figure,
forgive
though.
him until he literally like let go.
Yeah.
Sacrificed what he was after, and then because
Yeah, they were
even
battling
like
prove
the
it
whole
to
way
him.
when
up
he
that.
swoops up on the boat at the very end, like Jimbo, you figured out the boat. Like he still pulls the sword on him. So he doesn't.
That's just a great impression.
Yeah.
Jimbo.
Thank you.
Like,
Jimbo, I can't not think of Jimmy Neutron when I hear the word Jimbo.
yeah.
Cannot. It's a good show.
Anyways, I don't know.
Brain
Just,
blast.
Think.
this movie has a good emotional journey, and I just wanted
Yeah,
to bring that up.
yeah.
So I'm gonna give
Good
it.
on ya.
I'm gonna give it a
Yeah,
hit.
I really like the light coming off your sails portion. You can
It's
tell he
so
meant
come
it.
on,
Yeah.
come
Yeah,
on.
Come on, Nick.
How are you
Feel
not
something.
No, I did.
inspired?
Feel something.
I felt it all.
You're gonna shake
just
the
saying.
stars.
I'm
I
just
reject
saying.
it wholeheartedly.
He forgave him very easily and quickly.
Well, yeah, but you're a kid. You go through a lot.
You know,
It's fine.
it's been worse. His dad left him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rough. Sad.
I'll give it a hit. I love this movie. I think it's good.
Loved.
Well,
No,
It's
don't.
great.
Stand ground.
it's a good movie. If out of 10, I mean like 8.759. Like I think very highly of this movie. I
Wow.
think it's a good movie. Underrated. Cult
Yeah.
classic, if you will. Shouldn't have flopped.
I wish I could go back
It
and give
doesn't make any
Atlantis
sense.
more of a mid, and this is a hit.
Yeah. I think that this movie, this is the order. I'm glad we watched them in this order.
Ooh yeah.
If I'd seen Treasure Planet first and then Atlantis, I would have been like, "What the hell is this
Yeah,
shit?"
you're
I
right.
just didn't. I wouldn't have liked Atlantis at all. But Carl,
If they hadn't tanked the whole live action thing, would this be a good candidate for a new live action?
I
We
Because
think
I feel like they could
there's-
really do it. If they did it well, it'd
have
be
I got
really
an
cool.
Italian miniseries for you? It's called Treasure Island in Space. No, but I don't know. I don't. What I'm glad about in the inverse of that, I'm almost glad it tanked because I don't want any more.
yeah.
I like it
They're
when
never as
things
good.
are good and they leave it alone.
Yeah, I don't think it needs it, but I'm like, man, I kind of
I
want to
feel
see.
like this
what
might
they
be
could
a
do now.
better live action candidate than like going back and doing Beauty and the Beast word for word.
But then you draw.
The more iconic ones,
but
yeah.
then if
Like,
you-
give this one a new chance.
If you do
Yeah.
this live action, or say, let's say it didn't exist in 2002 and it was coming out this year as a live action movie for the first time, fresh, like same exact story, just done in live action we hadn't seen before, then you have the problem of drawing the Pirates of the Caribbean comparison, and I don't think that's good.
yeah, it was pre-Pirates at the time.
It's pre-Pirates.
Pirate movie.
I don't think that's good. Now they do.
Also-
they did. What was the Pirates reference they did?
They did a part of the song. I can't remember
Was
which
it
part.
Yo-ho, yo-ho? Or
Yeah,
was it
something like
A
that.
Pirate's Life for Me, something like that. But and I was like, but isn't this before Pirates? And she was like, not the ride,
Not
dumbass.
The ride,
Like,
the
you're right.
ride dumping around.
Because the ride was like what, like 1979 or something.
Yeah.
I just got a text from a friend that just says, "Here's what's crazy." That's it. So now I'm just
Good.
on pins and needles. We got to wrap up this show. Should we pick a movie?
Your
Yeah.
Yeah,
turn.
it's my turn.
It's Nick's turn.
Anyway, what was this movie called? Treasure Planet. Good movie. Watch it.
Go watch it.
Certified big.
Also,
brain banger.
Dan, very correct. Very, very good. Loved it. Good job.
This one- is that stuck? Nope.
Oh,
that's
Morph
one
was
thing.
tight. I forgot to mention that.
Oh yeah, Morphos.
yeah.
I want a morph.
Yeah.
All right,
That was the face of just
we're pivoting again.
again.
Again to miscongeniality.
Oh my god,
Ooh.
I'm getting whiplash from this.
I was gonna
podcast.
say.
I have been just winning
You're all over
What was,
the
what
place.
was the last movie?
this first half of the year.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Prince of Persia.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Breakfast at Tiffany's. And Treasure Planet.
Miscongeniality.
Isn't this Hathaway?
And before that, Rocky.
Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
This is the
Wait,
April
is this-
25th movie. We just passed April.
Is this the movie where she's
This is an FBI
Was she-
agent.
yeah, all right.
Yes,
Yep,
that's
yep,
not a
yep,
spoiler.
yep,
Oh,
yep,
this
yep,
movie's good,
yep,
guys.
yep.
Guys. This is a movie
Bull-
that my mom and
bull.
I would put on like
actiony, little heisty almost?
over and over and over again.
It's
I knew
his
not-
nothing
name?
about this movie, so
William
I'm
Shatner.
excited.
No. Well, yes, William Shatner's in it.
Hang on, Miss.
I can't think
This
of his
is
name.
a great show.
He's in Batman.
Miscongeniality. He's in Batman. Great.
Which
that narrows it
Batman?
down.
Alfred. He plays
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine's
Oh.
in this movie. Oh my god, I love this
All
movie.
right, let's give Nick a thing so that he can get a little more excited.
You should get excited.
Sandra Bullock as Gracie Hart, a tomboy agent who is tasked by the FBI to go undercover as a contestant when a terrorist threatens to bomb the Miss United States pageant.
It's kind of like me with restaurants.
So it's kind of
It
is.
is.
Is it a little bit like the what's the bloody movie where Anne
Ocean's
Hathaway's
11.
got to become pretty?
What? Princess
Oh.
Diaries?
Princess Diaries. It's got that similar like you're a tomboy, but
well,
you
it
gotta
has
be
a
hot now.
makeover, but totally different.
Well, of course, I'm just saying.
You said bloody, and I was like, bloody?
No, I meant bloody in the British
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
figured it out after. It's like it was a massacre and there was a beauty
Yeah.
thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's called Princess Diaries. No, so Miscongeniality. All right,
Nice.
this is a movie that
so
you've had on the
good.
television,
So many times.
and I look at it and I go, nope, and I walk to the other room. So-
excited.
I'm so excited. This is a movie I could just watch over and over and over again.
Well, you have,
And I
You've
have.
seen it 968 times.
This Legally Blonde, if it's on, I'm watching it.
Legally Blonde, though, is good.
Thank you.
Isn't that
I
Reese
was
without her
gonna-
spoon?
Yes.
We watched that at Speed and Caitlin's
If she
house
could
and
ever
just
get her
kinda
spoon.
didn't watch it.
That would be really something.
Yeah, I like Reese Witherspoon. She's all right.
She cute.
She's all right. Yeah.
I like her.
Anyway, we're gonna watch the 25-year-old film. God,
Sheesh.
Let's go.
Miss Congeniality. Back on the Danielle side of the show.
We've been here a lot.
And we'll catch you in the next one.